Okay, all right, guys, we're going to get going. For those of you who do kind of trickle in the next minute or so, totally cool. So hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Mobility Flow Live. So this is going to be part one of a two-part series. Honestly, this could be a 10-part series because we're going to talk about the hips, which is a very complex, broad topic. But in terms of what we're going to be focusing on, I'm doing this in two parts. So today's class is going to be a little bit more about range of motion of the hip. So taking the hip joint through all of its ranges of motion. And then a little bit of release work. I negate using the word stretch. I'm not a big fan of the word stretching. I'm focused more on kind of range of motion release work. So that's what today is going to be about. And then part two on Sunday is going to be a little bit more about that sort of deep strengthening work. So this kind of two-part series works perfectly together. So the props that you're going to need is your two blocks, obviously your mat, and a towel or a yoga strap will actually do completely fine for this class. So yeah, I don't really have anything else to say except hips, release work, range of motion work, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. So I'm gonna have you guys start down actually on your backs, and you're gonna take one of your blocks with you. Now, as always, you guys have been doing these classes with me for a little bit of time now. Feel free to put something behind the back of your head for support. It doesn't have to be a block. It can be a pillow or it can be your towel rolled up. So go ahead and prop down on your back. And we're actually going to start with a little bit of breathing today. So go ahead and prop down into our usual constructive rest position. Okay, so knees bent, soles of the feet flat on the floor. And again, if your neck is doing this big arch and your shoulders are kind of rolled forward, this is a telltale sign that your head actually has to come a little bit up off the floor so your shoulders can roll back. So go ahead and kind of slide something behind the back of the head, mostly just to neutralize your spine more than anything. All right, so since we're focusing on a little bit more of the release aspect of the muscularity of the hips, we gotta get our breath in check. So go ahead and take a moment, just settle in, try not to manipulate your spine here, just allow it to come to its natural position, which for most of you, you'll have a little bit of an arch of the lower back and maybe a little bit of an arch through the mid-back. And we're actually going to start with one hand on the belly today and one hand on kind of like the center of the chest. Go ahead and give your eyes a close. And in your own time, I'd like you to start with inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And do a few of those in your own time. And with the exhale, I want you to think of emptying the belly. So you're using that exhale as a means to just let go of anything that's being stored in the body. So you're using that long exhale to just settle into this position. And then go ahead and close your mouth now. And I really want to talk about breathing into the hand that's on the belly. Not that we want to avoid filling up the chest, but I want to focus more on the lowest part of the abdomen. And that's going to get a little bit more into the muscles of the hips, a little bit more of the pelvic floor muscles. So breathing in and out of your nose, I'd like you to see if you can fill up the hand that is on your belly. Good. Just inhale in and out through the nose and just watch as the hand on the belly starts to rise and fall with that mechanical movement of your breathing. Now, if the hand on your chest is moving as well, that's okay. Our lungs are up there. It will move to an extent. But I'd like you to see if you can focus a little bit more energy towards breathing in towards the hand that is on your low belly. We'll take a few more of these and then we're going to get right into movement. All right, when you're ready, go ahead and take your arms out to the side with your palms facing up, almost like a letter T. Go ahead and work towards opening your eyes. All right, starting with some simple rotation. Take your feet maybe mat width apart. And then I actually want you to flex your feet. So the only thing that's on the floor is your heels. And then proceed to drop your right leg over towards the right as far as it will go. And just allow your left leg to drop over towards the right as well. So we've got our right leg rotating outward, our left leg rotating inward. Now don't worry if your right leg did not hit the floor. Go as far as you can that feels wise for you, but try to maintain your shoulder blades square across the floor so your chest is parallel to the ceiling. And keeping those ankles flexed, go ahead and prop back up on the heels. So now the legs are back to where we started, and then go ahead and proceed to the left. So drop your left leg over towards the left as far as what feels comfortable, and let your right leg kind of rotate inward. And let's synchronize with the breath. Inhale as we come to center through the nose. Exhale through the nose, drop over towards the right. Inhale up to center. Exhale through the nose over towards the left. Now let's see if we can go a little quicker here. Inhale nose up to center. Exhale nose right. Inhale center. Exhale left. Inhale center. Exhale right. Inhale center. Exhale left. Fantastic. All right, go ahead and pop back up to center. Now we're going to come up into an elevated position with our hips. So you're going to go ahead and lift your hips and slide your block underneath kind of the base of your tailbone. We don't want to have the block too high, so we don't want the bum to fall off the edge and you have a big arch in your spine. So take that block more down towards kind of like the base of your tailbone so that when you drop your rib cage and your hip bones down, you don't have an arch in your spine. Now, if your block is too high for you, elevate on a pillow or even fold up that towel and slide it underneath. I just want to have the hips a little bit higher than the rib cage for what we're going to do here. Then I'm going to slowly bring my right leg up to a 90-degree angle. So my knee is over my hip crease and my shin bone is parallel to my ceiling. And then I'm going to go ahead and take that left leg up. Now from here, we got to use a lot of abdominal control so that we feel like we're not falling off the block. So I want to go ahead and drop my rib cage down, my front rib cage down towards my back rib cage as if I'm creating tension and pressure through my abdominals. Then I'm going to take my right leg and I'm actually going to pull it a little bit closer in towards my chest. So now my legs are no longer parallel to one another. Okay, my right leg is in close and my left leg is at 90 degrees. And then all I want to do from there is I want to slowly proceed to straighten my left leg out. And as I straighten it out, I want to bring it as high as I can or as high as I need to maintain the leg straight. So if I have my leg too low and my knee bends and my low back arches, I know that leg has to come up higher. I'm going to maintain my rib cage dropping. Now I'm going to pull my right leg in towards my chest. And then I'm going to work to pull that left leg back to 90 degrees. Okay? And that's all we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and take my left leg and pop it out straight. Keep my rib cage dropping so I'm keeping sort of that abdominal pressure. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull that left leg back in. Again, left leg goes out, rib cage drops. Really important that you do that when the leg extends. Pull it back in. Okay, let's go ahead and try two more here. Right leg still pulling in, left leg out, drop the rib cage down. So I'm not using the lower back here. Pull that left leg back in. One more here, push that left leg out straight, drop the rib cage. Feel that abdominal pressure as you do this. And then left leg back to 90 degrees. Set the left foot down, set the right foot down, drop the rib cage, relax for a moment. Okay, and again, if that was too much for the low back, take the block away, put something a little bit lower or a little bit not as high. Let's go ahead and try the other side. So left leg up to 90. Okay, right leg up to 90. Left leg pulls in, right leg stays at 90. Rib cage drops. Right leg, go ahead and proceed. Kick it out straight. Good. And again, I want to have that leg relatively straight. So I'm going to adjust it. Good. Let that rib cage drop. Pull that leg back to 90. Good. Left leg pulls in still. Right leg goes out straight. Rib cage drops as soon as the leg extends. And you'll feel a lot of work happening in the front of the body. Pull that leg back in. Good. Again, right leg extends out. Rib cage drops. Think about contracting your abdominals. Pull that back in. Good. Again, right leg out, rib cage drops. Good. Pull it back in. 2 more here. Right leg out, left leg in, rib cage drops. Good. Pull it back. 1 more here, rib cage drop, leg out straight. Really tense the abdominals. Good. Pull the right leg back in. Left foot down, right leg down. Go ahead and get rid of your block. So lift your hips, slide the block from out from underneath you. Lower down until the back of the pelvis hits the floor. Okay, last thing we're going to do on our backs here, we're just going to fire up a little bit of the hip muscles. We want to put blood flow there before we actually stretch the muscles. It's a little bit more effective. So you're going to go ahead and take your arms up over your chest, okay, palms facing one another, arms nice and straight. Now what I want to think about doing is pushing my front rib cage down to my back rib cage and pushing my lower back in towards the floor so I don't have any arch. Then I'm going to use that pushing of the low back to bring both legs up to 90 degrees. Okay? So knees over hip creases, shin bones parallel to the ceiling. Now I'm going to try to maintain my low back in towards the floor, and then I'm going to proceed to take my right leg forward and down until the heel taps the floor. Now, if the side of the lower back popped up off the ground, feel free to not touch the heel of the floor. Take it as far as you can without letting that right side pop up, and then proceed to bring the leg back up. Push the low back into the floor, left leg goes forward and down until the heel either hovers or taps to the floor. And then think that you're lifting the leg from the front of the body. Good. So right leg forward and down. Push the low back in towards the floor. That's your priority. Maintain that the entire time. And then from the front of the leg, pull it back forward and up. Left side, here we go. Forward and down. Good. From the front of the body, forward and up. Right leg, forward and down. Forward and up. Left leg, forward and down. We're just going to keep alternating here. Take breaks if you need it. Forward and up. You might feel a lot of work in your abdominals and your hip creases. Right leg, forward and down. Good. And up. Left leg. Good. And up. Let's do 2 more each leg. Right leg. And up. Think about control here. Left leg. So we don't want the low back to arch. We want to feel like our legs are moving independently from our torso. 1 more here. Right leg. And up. Left leg. And up. Good. Give your knees a little hug into the chest. Beautiful. And we're going to proceed to come up forward into our hands and knees. So go ahead and roll yourself up any way that feels comfortable to you to get up into a hands and knees position here. All right. So now we're going to get into a little bit of range of motion, a little bit of release work. So you're going to make your way forward into a hands and knees position. Now, again, we want to make sure that we don't have our hands too close. We want to generally have our elbows stacked under our shoulders and our hands turned out a little bit so that from our upper arm bones, we can work to spin those inner biceps forward to the front of the mat. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm going to set my elbows under my shoulders. I'm going to turn my hands out just a little bit, spread through my fingers, and then I want to work for my upper arm bones to spin my inner biceps forward. Now I'm going to take my right leg through a full circle. Now I want to avoid arching the lower back from here. So one thing I want to do is I want to push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, and I want to hold the front of my rib cage up. Now I'm going to take my right knee, I'm going to lift it. Now, without changing anything I said in my spine, I'm going to pull my right knee forward towards my chest. Then I'm going to make a big circle to the right. So I'm going to circle out and up and all the way back behind me until I can turn that left inner thigh up towards the right inner thigh up towards the ceiling, and then pull my leg back parallel. Then I'm going to go and reverse that. I'm going to take my leg behind me. I'm going to circle it up and around to the right, and then pull the knee back to the chest, and then set that leg down. Okay, now we're going to do that 3 times. And what I want to think about doing is taking the leg through a full circle without arching or changing my spine. So let's try 3 of those. So come back to your hands and knees position. Okay, go ahead and push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Lift the front rib cage, lift the right knee. Now pull the knee to the chest. Circle up and around to the right. Turn that inner thigh up towards the ceiling until your hips are relatively square. Pull the knee back towards the chest. Send the leg back. Circle up and around to the right and pull the knee back to the chest. Set the leg down. Again, lift the knee, pull the knee to the chest. Circle up and around. Turn the inner thigh up towards the ceiling. Pull the knee back to parallel. Send the leg back behind you. Circle up and around to the right. Pull the knee back to the chest. Set the leg down. One more here. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Lift the knee. Pull the knee to the chest. Circle up and around to the right. Turn that right inner thigh up towards the ceiling until your hips are neutral. Legs back parallel. Reverse. Back. Circle up and around, knee to chest. Now this time, take your right foot, step it forward right next to the right thumb. Okay, we're going to come up into a nice little low lunge here. So I'm going to put the left knee under the hip. I'm going to curl the back toes under, and I'm going to rise up to a low lunge. Now I'm going to find a little bit of a hip release in the front of the left leg. So getting into those hip flexors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my left butt cheek and scoop it underneath me. And as I scoop the left butt cheek underneath me, I pull the front of the left thigh up towards the left shoulder. I'm going to take my arms out in front of me and hold here. I want you to breathe in and out through your nose. Now, the more you scoop the butt underneath you, the more you pull the left leg up, the more you're going to feel a release in the front of the thigh. So I'm going to hold here for 2 more breaths. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. Now I'm going to take this right hand, bring it to the inside of my right knee. I'm going to take my left arm up alongside the ear. Can you change it a little bit? Good. All right. All right, so my right arm is on the inside of my leg. My left arm is up alongside my ear. Now, as I scoop the butt cheek underneath me, I want to think about lifting the left shoulder blade to the ceiling and then side bending up and over towards the right. So I'm getting into the muscles that run along the side of the left body that connect to the hips. Then I'm going to come up and over to come back to neutral. I'm going to scoop the butt underneath me. I'm going to lift up and over as I bend. Come right up and back to neutral. One more here. Scoop the butt underneath you. Lift up. Circle up and over to the right. Now, as I come up and over back to neutral, I'm going to go ahead and drop my hands to the floor. Okay, lower the camera. Good. All right. Now I want to take my back leg and I want to go ahead and lift it until it's straight. I want to really think about using my left butt cheek to straighten that leg. And then I want to see if I can pull myself up away from the thigh and bring my hands to my waist. Now, if this is too much for you, you can go ahead and grab both of your blocks and put your hands on either side of those blocks so you have support. Otherwise, when you're here, think about pushing down through the right foot. Think about lifting from the left inner thigh, hands to the waist, and pull the belly up away from the thigh. Now, as you inhale, take your arms forward and up alongside your ears. Exhale, arms swing back alongside the hips. Okay, 5 of these. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, down and back. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, down and back. Maintain your neck long with your upper back. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Last one. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Good. Go ahead and drop your hands. Set your back knee down. Go ahead and step the right leg back. And then we're going to repeat everything on the left side. So we're going to start with 3 of our circles through the left leg. And I'm just going to switch over here. All right. So I'm going to come back to my hands and knees position. Hands turned out. Inner biceps forward. I'm going to push my shoulder blades to the ceiling. I'm going to go ahead and lift my left knee. I'm going to go ahead and pull the knee towards the chest. Try not to bend the elbows or arch the lower back. Circle to the left, up and back behind me as I turn the inner thigh up towards the ceiling so my hips are square, and then legs parallel. Then I go behind me, circle up and around to the left, knee back to the chest, set the leg down. Again, push the shoulder blades to the ceiling, lift, pull the knee to the chest, circle up and around, turn the inner thigh up towards the ceiling, legs parallel. Leg goes behind me without arching the low back. Circle up and around. Pull the knee back towards the chest. Set down. Last one here. Push the shoulder blades to the ceiling. Lift the knee. Pull it towards the chest. Circle up and around. Turn that inner thigh towards the ceiling. Legs parallel. Reverse. Back behind me. Circle up and around. Knee back towards the chest. Now I'm going to take that foot and I'm going to step it forward right next to the left thumb, and I'm going to proceed to come back to my low lunge. So I'm going to scoot that right knee underneath the right hip, curl the back toes under, go ahead and prop myself up. Now again, in order to release the muscles in the front, I have to change the pelvis on that right side. So I'm going to scoop the butt cheek underneath me. I'm going to pull the right thigh up to the chest. I'm going to take my arms out in front of me, and I'm going to breathe in and out through the nose. The more you scoop underneath, the more you're going to feel a pull in the front of the right leg. Those are your hip flexors. 2 more breaths here. In through the nose. Out through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. Left arm inside of left leg. Right arm up alongside the ear. This is where you're going to take the camera up. Now from here, I want to think about lifting up through that right side body, bend up and over to the left. Up and back to neutral, scoop the butt underneath me, lift up and over. Come on back. Last one here, scoop the butt underneath you, lift up and over. Come up back to neutral. Drop your hands to the floor. Now we go ahead and we come up into that lunge. I'm going to go ahead and pick my back leg up. I want to really think about using my right butt cheek to straighten that back leg. I'm either going to use blocks or I'm going to hover over the thigh, bring my hands to my waist. I want to pull my belly up away from the leg and really work to straighten the back leg as I push the front into the floor. Now with my arms, inhale, alongside ears, exhale, alongside body. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale. Great. Go ahead and drop your hands, drop your back knee, step that left leg back. Fantastic. All right. Now we're going to work a little bit of rotation. So we're going to work into those deep rotators at the hip, and we're going to combine some deep spinal work as well as some deep hip flexor work. So the position I'm going to have you guys come to, it's generally called the 90-90 position, but not everybody will look 90 degrees. So what I'm going to do with my right leg is I'm going to rotate the leg outward until my shin bone is like kind of parallel to the front of my mat. And that right butt cheek is going to stay on the floor. Now what I'm going to do with my left leg is I'm going to go ahead and swing that behind me with my ankle flexed. So I have one leg roughly in a 90-degree angle and the other leg roughly in a 90-degree angle. Okay. Now, not everybody's going to find this position comfortable. This is a lot of range of motion. Don't worry if you feel like you're leaning a little bit to one hip. If that's happening, maybe shorten the space between your legs and adjust your torso either towards the knee or towards the foot. Whatever's going to make you feel a little bit more balanced in your structure. Or you can go ahead and take your leg a little further back. It's up to you. Now we're going to take these spinal waves where we're going to go from an arch to a fold to a round. So go ahead and take the tips of your fingers, place them on either side of your leg. Again, adjust your spine to where you feel comfortable. I feel best more towards the shin. Now I'm going to take a lift of the chest, almost as if I'm arching my upper back. Then from that right hip crease, I'm going to fold forward. Then I'm going to tuck my chin as I round through my spine to proceed to come all the way back up. Now I'm going to do this with my breath. Inhale, I'm going to lift. Exhale, I'm going to fold. I'm going to round. I'm going to come back up straight. Inhale, I'm going to lift. Exhale, I'm going to fold. I'm going to round. Come back up straight. Really good. Inhale, nose. Exhale, fold. Round. Come up straight. 2 more here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Come up straight. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Come up straight. Good. Okay. Now the difficult part. Take your arms out to the side like a fist. Now for me, I find that if I actually turn a little bit towards the foot, I feel a little bit more upright in my torso. So you guys know there's no one size fits all. So feel free to kind of move your body around to what feels comfortable. Now with my fists, I want to take what's called an active forward fold. I don't want my spine to arch as I do this. So I'm going to lift my chest, maintain my rib cage down. Then from the right hip crease, I'm going to start to proceed to fold forward. Now I'm going to go as far as I can without arching my spine. And as I do this, I want to think about pushing that right outer hip in towards the floor. And then as I push off that right outer hip, I'm going to come back up. You might get some cramps in your muscles. Don't worry about them. It's actually a good thing. So again, I'm going to try 2 more of those. Ribs down, and I'm going to proceed to fold. I want to push that right outer hip into the floor. Then I want to go ahead and come right back up. 1 more here, guys. Lift the chest, ribs down, fold. Nice long spine. Good. Push into the right outer hip to come up. Okay, now the nice part. Take your right forearm, go ahead and drop it down to the floor. It's going to be the nice relief part. I like to actually make a fist and come up onto the side of my hand, but you can go ahead and put your palm flat, or you can cup onto the pinky finger, whatever feels better for you. You're going to go ahead and take your left hand, put it behind your head, and you're going to turn open to the left as you look up towards the ceiling. Now I'm going to take this left elbow down towards my right elbow. Then from the upper back, I'm going to go ahead and turn open. This feels pretty good right now. So with my breath, inhale, elbow to elbow. Out breath, turn open. Inhale, elbow to elbow. Out breath, open. 3 more. Inhale, really turn from the upper back. Out breath. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to turn my chest to face the floor. I'm going to press off my hands to come up. I'm going to swing that left leg around me, and I'm going to give a little bit of a shake. That might have felt like a lot of work for your hips, your outer hips especially. So feel free to kind of just take a moment to take a little bit of relief before we do the other side. All right, so now we're going to do the left side. Now, one side will not feel the same as the other. It's just the nature of the body. For me, like my left side is definitely not my best for rotation, but this is why we do mobility work. So I'm going to take my left leg. I'm going to rotate it out so the butt cheek's on the floor. I'm going to take my right leg and I'm going to swing it back behind me. Okay? And again, I'm going to adjust my torso to where I feel best. For me, it's more towards the knee on this side. So I'm going to start with my spinal weights. We're going to try 5 of these. So I'm going to inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Back up straight. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Come on up. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Come on up. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Come on up. 1 more here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Round. Come on up. Okay, now the difficult part. I'm going to find those fists. Now for me, I actually move more towards the knee on this one as opposed to towards the foot. So you guys decide what feels best. So as I lift my chest and keep my ribs down, I push that left outer hip in towards the floor as I work that nice straight forward fold. Press into that left outer hip. Come on up. Again, ribs down, push into the left outer hip, fold forward. Good. Go ahead and come on up. Last one here. Ribs down, fold, long spine, guys. Press into the left outer hip, come on up. Now the nice part, left forearm. Go ahead and drop that down. Right hand behind the back of the head. Turn open as I look up towards the ceiling. Now I want to take 5 of these rotations. So I'm going to take that right elbow down towards the left elbow. From the upper back, turn open. With the breath, inhale, nose. Nice and slow, exhale, nose. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose. 2 more. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose. Last one here. Inhale, elbow to elbow. Out, breath. Go ahead and turn up. Beautiful. And again, I'm going to turn to face the floor. I'm going to prop myself up. I'm going to swing that right leg around and do a little shake for my legs. Great. Okay. So now we're going to work a little bit more with some isolated range of motion work with the inner and outer rotators of the hip, which is something that is often neglected. So you're going to need a block for this. I'm going to set you up in a sideline position, but I'm going to give you an option because not everyone is going to find this their cup of tea. So I'll give you 2 options. So you're going to lie on your right side. Okay. And how I ideally want to lie is I want to lie kind of in what's called like a clamshell position or like a side bed lying position where I'm going to stack my knees in line with my hips, and I'm going to take my block and put it in between the inner thighs. Now, you're either going to rest your head in your hands, or you'll rest your head on your pillow or your block with your right arm swinging through. Either or is fine. Just try not to have your head lower than your hips. So you might want to prop that block up. Okay, so we're going to work with inner rotation of this left leg. So first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my feet aren't touching. I want to really flex both feet so that the outer edge of my right foot is secured on the floor. Now I want to think about using my inner thighs to squeeze the block in place. So that's step 1. Now as I hold that squeeze with the block, I want to think about taking my left inner thigh and spinning it inward. And as I spin it inward, what's going to happen is my heel is going to come a little higher than my knee. So I've actually rotated my thigh bone inward. But as I hold that, I'm still squeezing the block. So what might happen is if you guys can see, my shin is shaking a little bit. Okay, that's a good thing. Then I want to rotate back to quote unquote neutral. Okay, so we're going to try a few of these. So I'm going to squeeze the block. I'm going to spin the inner thigh inward as if I'm trying to take my heel up to the ceiling. I'm going to keep squeezing the block and then rotate back to neutral. Okay, again, squeeze the block, spin the inner thigh inward as if my heel is going to touch the ceiling, but I'm going to keep squeezing that block. Good, and come back to neutral. These inner rotators are so neglected. 2 more like that. Squeeze, rotate inward. Yeah, those deep, deep inner rotators. Come back to neutral. 1 more here, guys. Squeeze the block, spin inward, come on up and hold. Good, and come back to neutral. Now, if you're doing that with enough tension, you might have felt a lot of work in your inner thighs, which are, again, another neglected muscle group. So let's try 5 more of these, and then we're going to switch to the other side. So I'm going to do the same thing. My feet aren't going to touch. My shin bones are parallel. I'm going to squeeze the block, and I'm going to rotate inward. Now, maybe now that you know what you're doing, see if you can squeeze a little bit harder into the block. Yeah. And then rotate that thigh bone back to neutral. So my low back doesn't change. My torso doesn't change. It's just that thigh. Squeeze in and rotate up. Yeah, we don't do a lot of inner rotation work in movement. We do a lot of the opposite. So this is really important. Come back to neutral. Again, squeeze in, rotate. Oof. Come back to neutral. Good. 2 more. Squeeze in and rotate. Ooh. Come back to neutral. I forgot how hard this was. 1 more. Squeeze in and rotate. I'm wondering if it's hard for you guys. I wish I could see you. Good. And then come back to neutral. Awesome job. Beautiful. Okay. So obviously we're going to switch to the other side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the same position. I found dropping my head a little bit easier for me to focus, so maybe you want to do that as well. Okay, pull my knees up, hips nice and level, blocking between the inner thighs. We're going to do 2 sets of 5 here. Okay, I'm going to start with not having my feet touch. Okay, and then I want to do the same thing. And I want to squeeze the block, or squeeze my inner thigh in towards my block. Now I want to think about rotating that right inner thigh, spinning it inward so my heel comes higher. Good, and then really squeeze. And then rotate back to neutral. Be mindful you're doing this just from the thigh bone. Squeeze in and rotate up. Bottom ankle is flexed as well. Good, keep squeezing. Come back to neutral. Push in, rotate, spin up. Squeeze even harder if you can. Good, come back to neutral. 2 more here. Squeeze in and rotate. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good, come back to neutral. Last one. Squeeze in and rotate. And really think about moving from the inner thigh. Good, come back to neutral. Awesome. So do 1 more set of 5. And again, I really want you guys to really think about that top inner thigh, spinning that inward and squeezing from that, as opposed to trying to lead with the lower back or lead with the heel. Okay, let's try 1 more set of 5. Ankles flat, squeeze in, inner rotation. Good. Back to neutral. You won't have a lot of range of motion here, so don't try to force it. Squeeze in and up. Hold and back. Squeeze in and up. Hold and back. 2 more. Squeeze in and up. Hold and back. Last one. Squeeze in and rotation. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Good, and relax. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to come onto our stomachs now, and we're going to take kind of a variation of what we just did with that inner rotation, but now we're going to add some outer rotation, but we're going to apply it on our bellies, which requires a little bit more conscious attention. So go ahead and lie down on your bellies. Okay. All right, now we're not going to do anything fancy with the upper body to start. And we're going to repeat this a few times just in case you're a little bit confused with this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually rest my chin in my hands. Now, really, really important, especially for someone like me who is really arched through that low back, I want to consciously push my hip bones down into the floor. That's going to allow my glutes to turn on. Now, left leg is going to remain straight. Toes are going to remain uncurled, but I want you to keep your leg really strong. Press into the top of the foot and push those hip bones down into the floor. Now, all I want to do with my right leg is I want to flex the ankle and I want to bring my leg up to 90 degrees. So my heel is on top of my knee. Now, I want you to think about that same inner rotation that we did with the block. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to turn my right inner thigh up towards the ceiling. So now my right heel, it's very small, is going to prop over towards the right. And I'm going to keep pushing that right hip bone into the floor. I'm going to keep turning the inner thigh up with tension. I'm going to squeeze my bum. Now I'm going to come back to neutral. Now I want to think about rotating outward. So now I'm going to turn the inner thigh down towards the floor. And now my heel is going to cross over towards that left heel. Good. Keep pushing the right hip bone to the floor. Come back to neutral. Okay. Now we're going to do a few of these, but one thing I want you to avoid is we're not just swinging the leg. And see how my pelvis is going side to side with the leg? This means that I'm rotating the thigh bone and the hip bones and the pelvis, which is not what I want. I just want that thigh bone to go. So it's going to be a very, very small movement. Lower back does not change. Glutes stay squeezing. Okay, so let's give this a whirl. Okay, so I'm going to keep my head resting. I'm going to push my hip bones into the floor. I'm going to flex my right foot. Now, I'm going to turn my inner thigh up to the ceiling so my heel props over towards the right. And I'm doing this with focused tension. So I'm actually feeling a lot of work in my legs. Then I'm going back to center. Now I'm going to turn my inner thigh down towards the ceiling as my heel comes over towards the left. But I want to maintain my hip bones on the ground. Come back to neutral. Let's try 2 more. Inner thigh up, heel towards the right. Come back to neutral. Inner thigh down, heel towards the left. Come back to neutral.
One more, inner thigh up, heel towards the right. Whew, hip bone stays on the floor. Come back to neutral. Inner thigh down, heel towards the left. Good. Come back up and relax that leg. Good. So that hip bone should be staying on the ground. The bum should be squeezing as well as the hamstring. So let's try the left side. So we'll do one really slow together and then we'll do 3 reps. So I want to push my right hip bone to the floor, uncurl my right toes. I want to flex my left leg, or flex my left heel, and have a 90-degree angle. Now I want to actively push that left hip bone into the floor. Now I want to turn my inner thigh up as my heel goes to the left. Now inner rotation is where you'll have the least amount of range, so don't worry if your leg isn't going very far. Then you'll come back to neutral. Then I'm going to turn the inner thigh down as my heel crosses. And come back up. Okay, let's try three of these with active attention. So inner thigh up, heel over towards the left. Inner thigh, good, down as the heel comes across the body. Come back to neutral. Inner thigh up, heel over towards the left. Keep pushing that hip bone down to the floor, really important. Come back to neutral. Inner thigh down, heel across the body. Keep squeezing that left butt cheek. Good, come back to neutral. One more here. Inner thigh up, heel towards the left. Come back to neutral. Inner thigh down, heel towards the right. Good, and then come back to neutral and relax that leg down. Good. Okay, now I want you to come up onto your forearm bones as if you're about to do a forearm plank, but I want you to have your elbows a little further forward of your shoulders and bring your palms together almost like a prayer position. So now I'm going to work a range of motion called hip extension, which comes from our glutes. And this is, again, another range of motion where a lot of us are really limited in, which is why a lot of us have a lot of lower back pain. So this is a movement that's going to help build that hip extension. Now, my upper back is in a little bit of an arch, but I'm not trying to overly arch it. I want to actually think that I'm almost looking towards the floor, and I'm letting my rib cage drop, but my shoulder blades go down my back. Now, as I push the hip bones down to the floor, I'm going to point my toes straight back. Hip bones down. Now from my inner thighs, I want to see if I can lift my legs up as high as I can without bending my knees and without arching my low back further and without letting my hip bones come up off the floor. I'm going to hold there for 5, 3, 1. Now from the inner thighs, drop the legs down. Now, I didn't swing from the low back. I didn't use momentum. I used the strength from my inner thighs and the back of my legs and my bum to lift the legs up. Okay, we're going to try 5 of these. So my neck is almost long, so I'm looking almost towards my thumbs or down in between my forearms. Push my hip bones down, point my toes straight back. For my inner thighs, go ahead and lift. Squeeze that posterior bum for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Don't lose the tension. From the inner thighs, lift, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down from the inner thighs, lift, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Let's do 2 more. From the inner thighs, point back and up. Don't bend those knees. Your legs are not going to lift very high for 3, 2, 1. Drop down. Squeeze the bum. Last one here. Point the toes back and up. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop down. All right. Let's move on to a little bit more release work. So let's release the front of the leg a little bit into the hip flexors. So go ahead and take your right heel up to your bum. Let your foot be nice and relaxed. Take your right arm, reach back for the outer edge of the right foot, and really think about pulling that heel in towards the bum. Let that shoulder roll back, and then go ahead and rest your forehead in your left hand. Now, if you didn't reach the leg for whatever reason, sometimes it's arm length in comparison to leg length. Go ahead and just let that leg come in, but let the foot be nice and relaxed. Okay? Otherwise, you're grabbing the leg, you're pulling it in, and then think about just lengthening through the front of the right thigh. Let that right shoulder roll back. Shoulder blades down the back. Few little breaths here. Good. And then go ahead and release the foot. Proceed to lower that down. Left side, go ahead. Pull the left leg in. Reach back for the outer edge of the left foot. Pull the heel into the bum. Roll that left shoulder back and drop the forehead down. And again, if you didn't grab the leg, don't worry. Just pull it in actively without using your hands. Otherwise, rest the forehead down and hold. Nice few breaths here. Beautiful. Okay, go ahead and release that. All right, last little nugget here before we finish up on our backs. So go ahead and prop yourself up. So you're gonna need both of your blocks for this short little nugget here. One of the blocks we're gonna start with underneath the left knee, and we're gonna be in a lunge position. So have both of your blocks handy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna step my right foot forward like a lunge. I'm gonna have my other block handy nearby, but I'm gonna take that second block and I'm gonna put it underneath my left knee. So I'm in this short little lunge position. Now what I actually wanna do is I actually wanna lean forward, almost into like a hovering lunge position with my hands either to my waist or my hands kind of clasped in front of me. Now, we're going to work some active work with that hamstring as well as some release work, okay? Hamstrings are part of the hips. Now, as I push the right foot into the floor, I'm going to bend my knee, my left knee, and I'm going to pull my heel up towards my bum. And I'm going to hold that statically for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to lower the leg for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to try 5 of these. So in my hovering lunge, press my right foot to the floor, hold my ribs in. I'm going to pull the left heel up to the bum. I'm going to hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull up again. Pull, squeeze. Keep actively pulling that heel for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more. Pull that heel into the bum for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Pull it and feel that left hamstring contract for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Now I'm going to go ahead and take that block away from me, drop my back knee down. Now I'm going to grab both of my blocks and take that right leg and shoot it through nice and straight. So now I'm in something called half split. So I want to have the wrists relatively under my shoulders, my right leg flexed, and I want to think about hinging back into my hips as I pull my chest straight ahead. You're going to feel a big release in that right hamstring, but we want to feel the belly of the muscle. If you're feeling anything in the back of the knee or right at the base of the bum, put a little bend in your knee. It's your hamstring telling you, don't pull on me, okay? Now go ahead and stretch that out straight. Pull the chest straight ahead as you sit back in the hips. Hold for 2 breaths. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose. Great job. Now, slide your right foot back in. Take your blocks out in front of you. Take your right foot, heel toe it to the outer edge of your mat. Take your left knee back and shoot it back and back as far as you can with your toes curled or uncurled. Now think about pulling your chest straight ahead and hugging your right inner thigh in. If you feel better rotating the foot out to a 45-degree angle or further or less, feel free to do so, but still actively hug the inner thigh in towards the rib cage. Now all I'm going to do is add some rotation here. So I'm going to put my left hand flat on the floor, okay? Now if you feel like you're collapsing or you're having a hard time rotating open, put a block underneath your hand. It will just give you a little bit more leeway to move. Okay, now we're going to take 5 rotations here, similar to what we did in our 90-90 position. I'm going to put my right hand behind my head. I'm going to turn my chest open. And I'm going to take that right elbow down towards the left elbow. Now for my upper back, I'm going to turn open. Inhale, elbow to elbow. Out breath, turn open. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my palms flat. I'm going to heel toe my right foot off the mat. I'm going to step that right big toe to meet that left big toe. Bring my knees nice and wide. I just want to sit back in a nice little child's pose here just to alleviate the hips. You can either rest your head in your hands. You can have your arms overhead. Whatever feels good to you, but just let your torso drape in between the inner thighs. Really push the mat forward as you press your hips back. Hold for 2 breaths. Good. And then go ahead and shift yourself on forward. Great job. Okay, so we're going to repeat on the left side, and then we're going to go ahead and finish up on our backs. Really good job. Okay, so we're going to come back to those little sort of active hamstring strengthening exercises. So I'm going to go ahead and come back to my lunge. My left foot's going to go forward now. My blocks is going to go underneath my right knee, and I'm going to have my other one handy. And I'm going to come almost into like a little hovering position. My belly in, hands wherever I feel comfortable. I like them in front of me. Now, as I push down into that left foot, I want to really pull that right heel up into the bum. And I want to think about actively pulling it in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift, squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last 2. Pull it in. Squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more. Pull it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. I'm going to go to my half split. So I'm going to take that block away from me, drop my back knee, take my blocks high, and then take that left leg and swing it through. Really flex that ankle so you can get a little bit more into the calf. Think of hinging back through the hips and pulling your chest straight ahead. Don't worry if your elbows are bent. Okay? If you're feeling anything in the back of the knee or the base of the bum, bend the knee. It's your hamstring telling you, don't pull on me. Okay, really, really important. 2 breaths here. Sit back in the hips, pull the chest straight ahead. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose. Good. Slide that foot back. Take your blocks out of the way. Take that left foot over towards the left side of your mat. Scoot your right knee back as far as what's comfortable, and toes can be uncurled or curled. Whatever feels better. You can rotate your left foot out, but think about pulling your chest straight forward and hugging that left inner thigh in. Now working those rotations. Hand either on the floor, up on the block. If you had a hard time rotating on the other side, put something under your hand. It will make it a little bit easier for you to find rotation. So as I put that hand there, left hand behind the head, I turn open to the left. Inhale, left elbow to the right. Try to tap it if you can. Out breath, open. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. All right, hands go to the floor. Left foot comes off of my mat, and then I'm just going to scoot back into just child's pose for 2 breaths. So big toes together, knees however wide you like them. Just let my torso drape. 2 breaths here before we finish up on our backs. So reach those fingertips forward. Drop that forehead. Think of reaching towards the top of the mat as you push those hips back towards those heels. 2 breaths. All right, let's go ahead and prop ourselves onto our back. So this is what you're going to need your towel or your yoga strap for. Okay, go ahead and grab that now. And maybe take a block with you just in case for the back of the head. And then go ahead and make your way onto your back. All right, good. Okay, so a little bit of a hamstring release here. So I'm going to use my towel or my yoga strap, whatever is accessible for me. I'm going to use my towel or my strap to hook the right foot. So left foot stays on the floor. I'm going to hook the strap around the ball of my right foot. And I'm going to proceed to take my heel up to the ceiling. Now, I want to walk my arms down that strap. So I'm not hunching forward as I hold. So walk down. Now, your leg may not go all the way straight. That's fine. But one thing I want you to avoid is pulling your toes into the body so your bum lifts off. We want to relatively try to keep the hips level on both sides. So that may mean that your leg is relatively 90 degrees. Now, same rule of thumb as before. If you're feeling anything in the back of the knee or the base of the bum, this is your hamstring trying to tell you either A, I'm overstretched and you're stretching me far beyond what I need, or B, your hamstrings are so tight that they're just saying stop, okay? So don't be afraid to put a little bend in the knee. Now, if you can maintain both sides of the lower back on the floor and you can maintain your right leg where it is, you can go ahead and slide your left leg out straight. But if your lower back props up off the floor or your leg pulls you forward, keep that foot on the ground. Or maybe you want to keep it on the ground because you don't want too much of a stretch here. You want it to feel more relaxing, which I kind of prefer. And then we're just going to breathe here and out through the nose. I want to think about pushing my foot up into the towel or strap as I pull the towel or strap down towards my body. And then think about coming back to the breathing that we started with today. In through the nose, out through the nose. Good, and then go ahead and bend that knee towards the chest, unravel your prop, put that right foot back on the floor. Same thing, left side, I'm gonna prop around the foot, take my leg up. I don't wanna pull it in, I wanna have the back of the heel on the back of the hip, walk my arms down my prop, relax my low back in towards the floor, bend the knee if I'm feeling anything in the back of the knee or the base of the bum. Otherwise, push the foot up into the towel. And if I can maintain my leg where it is and the low back onto the floor, I can slide my right leg out straight. But if that feels like too much, I'm going to keep it on the ground. A couple breaths here. Good. Bend the knee into the chest. Go ahead and release your prop. And just finish for a moment with your feet on the floor. And you can adjust your arms to wherever they feel comfortable to you. And just take a few moments here just to breathe in and out of the belly. If you want to kind of finish where we started with those little windshield wiper hips, just to alleviate any stiffness that may be accumulating, go ahead and take a few windshield wiper hips here, just going back and forth, and just try to synchronize with the breath. Inhale, center, exhale to one side, inhale, center, exhale to one side. Beautiful. All right, everybody, go ahead and roll over onto one side. Prop yourself up to seated. All right, everybody, hips, part one. So that was more of our release focused class. Really good job. If you guys have any questions, feel free to prop them up now, or you can always shoot me an email at jen@freeruninc.com. So Sundays, YouTube Live, Mobility Flow Live is going to be part 2. Now this is going to be a little more challenging. We're going to focus a little bit more on building strength in those deep, deep muscles of the hips. So Sunday is going to be
a little bit tougher, but it's going to be really, really fun. So part 2 on Sunday, 10 a.m. for Mobility Flow Live. Thank you guys so much for joining. Oh, Rohan. Oh, God. I see Rohan's name. I know. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hope you have a great Wednesday. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you guys next time.